So this is going to be part 2 of the Fighting After Falling series. We're going to do a couple of different parts to this, but this is a pretty crazy video that you're about to see. Our victim was totally caught off guard when the attacker entered, and her reaction is going to be typical. She's in a total psychological and physical freeze, and she doesn't start responding until the bad guy actually starts attacking. You'll see here that the woman has the wherewithal to start kicking, but unless she's able to land on soft tissue, it's probably not going to deter the bad guy. Also, in this video, this is really the only time that she's actually attacking. I'm really impressed that after she's thrown to the ground, she does make an attempt to get out of the door. She's keeping the guy at bay with her feet, but she does make a hard attempt to get out. When our attacker and victim come back into frame here in a second, you'll see that the attacker has her in a side headlock or choke position. This is a fairly common self-defense lesson that we teach our students kind of right from the beginning, how to escape chokes and side headlocks like this. Eventually we will cover choke escapes, but you see our victim here goes unconscious, and that gives the bad guy an opportunity to do anything he wants. He chooses to kick to the skull, and that could have been fatal. We cannot overlook the victim's will to survive, but her mistake is that she is not fighting. She's defending instead of offending the bad guy. You'll see at the end of this video that our victim does escape, but she took an amazing amount of punishment, and she is extremely, extremely lucky. Our victim was smart enough to put her back towards the door, and when the opportunity presented itself where the guy was distracted, she seized it and was able to escape. Practicing a fight drill from these positions is extremely difficult, but this is what it would look like that we do in our classes. So here's a great example of a student of mine, female student that's only been with me for about 6 months, kind of learning how to fight. In the beginning of your training, you're going to want to absorb the damage. It's just instinctive to put your hands up and kind of block the attacker. But after you learn, you'll see here she sees an opportunity and strikes to the groin. You'll notice immediately following the groin strike, the attacker's head comes forward, and she takes advantage of that opportunity by getting into the soft tissue of the eye. We're trying to show that being able to move on the ground back and forth also makes it more difficult for the attacker to get a really good tactical advantage. We really want to pay attention to her moving back and forth like a windshield wiper. It's really putting our attacker in a position where he can't get good balance. What we're trying to recognize here is when the attacker is recovering his balance point, it gives you an opportunity to start to strike back. Gently and with massive amounts of control, the way that you can practice this lesson is to pick a play fight with somebody usually much bigger than you. It just seems to work better. In 60 seconds, see if you can graze the inner thigh or the eyebrow a bunch of times, which is how we simulate hitting the groin or eyeball. This play fight should look something like this, but you'll see that our victim here is absorbing a lot of attack. She's new, so she's making some mistakes, but when she gets an opportunity, she does strike back, and that's a good lesson and a great way to learn how to do it. Again, you need an extreme amount of control. Make sure that you're not actually hitting the eyeball or the testicles or groin of your opponent, especially if it's a guy. But as an instructor, I've concluded that the fastest way to learn to fight is to play fight.